What's up, everybody? This is Chris Nichols, and you're listening to an episode of the Nichols and Dimes Show featuring Maxine Chapman. Enjoy. What's up, Max?
Hey, Chris. It's great to be here with you.
Well, thanks for having me. What a cool spot. So this is the Jacobs Center. It's an entrepreneurial accelerator, right?
Yeah, exactly. Connect All, hosted by the Jacobs Center. It was the first accelerator program we did, and they're awesome. I tell everybody it was really the first thing that launched us into business was being a part of this program.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you getting a hold of the facility for us to use for the podcast, and I'm curious more about how that has had an impact specifically to your business and your growth as an entrepreneur. But first and foremost, thank you for bearing with me. We had some technical difficulties, as we tend to. I'm kind of a one-man show on this podcast, so we're figuring out how to set things up, but we are making it work.
Yeah, it was very impressive maneuvering happening in this room.
Well, I appreciate your moral support through it, because I definitely need it. But guys, let me give a quick intro on Max. So I'm here today with Maxine Chapman, who is CEO and founder of SurfDurt, founded in 2016, which is a mineral non-toxic sunscreen company which aims to protect and replenish ocean ecosystems, along with being a better solution for your skin. Max is from the Bay Area, California, attended UC Santa Barbara, and is currently based in San Diego. So,
nice.
What a cool thing you're up to. I love looking at your website and the story, and I mean, being a Hawaii boy myself, fellow surfer, you've got ties to Hawaii too, right?
Yeah.
Did you say your dad's from there?
Exactly, yeah. My dad grew up in Oahu, and both my parents are in Maui now, in Haiku.
That's awesome. So how often do you get back to Hawaii or Maui to visit them?
Not often enough. They moved back there not too long ago. It was my dad's dream to go back forever now, but they just moved back last year, so I get back as often as I can. It's easy to stay there too long when you do visit. But.
Yeah, I hear you. So what was your life like growing up in the Bay Area, and I guess, did you ever go visit any family back in Hawaii because your dad's connection?
Yeah, we did go quite a bit. Hawaii is very everyone becomes your aunties and your uncles.
Yep.
And it's very familial.
Auntie, so true.
So we definitely went back and visited. I actually grew up as a kid in Boulder, Colorado. So I moved to the Bay Area when I was 9. And so I felt like I had the whole hippie Boulder upbringing is where it really started.
Yeah.
It was Rocky Mountains and mountain bikes and creeks and rivers and just being really dirty kids.
Yeah.
And then the Bay Area is really where I went to high school and started sort of.
Okay, where specifically in the Bay were you?
I was in Sunnyvale for high school. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then I bounced around in the Bay a little bit before, like you mentioned, going to Santa Barbara for school.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Sunnyvale going to Santa Clara.
That's right. We have sort of reverse trajectories.
Yeah,
it's so
exactly.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Happy to be from there. Happy that I left.
Yeah. So what actually brought you to San Diego? When did you move here?
Yeah, my family actually moved here before me. So my parents were here on the mainland in San Diego for 10 years, and they were here when I was in college in Santa Barbara.
Got it.
And then I visited enough times to think, all right, that's an easy enough next step for me. And I think I've been here almost 8 years now. It's an easy place to linger.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you been here?
I've been here 3 years now.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
So mid-2020.
From the Bay Area.
Yep, I moved here from San Francisco.
Sick. Okay.
Yeah.
Good time to leave.
Yeah.
Seems like a nightmare during the whole pandemic.
Oh yeah.
thing.
Yeah. There was moving trucks on every block when I was getting out.
But mass hiatus. Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. So when you were, in high school years, I'd say, what kind of how long have you been surfing for?
I actually started surfing in my mid-20s. I wish I had started earlier, especially here in San Diego. You see all these kids that are ripping groms, and I'm so jealous that they started so young. But I didn't start until I was in my mid-20s. Northern California is a tougher place to learn, I think.
That's true.
Got these I was just up there. I was telling you, I was just up there in Bodega Bay, and there's these huge, crashing, monstrous waves.
Yeah.
I had a day where I couldn't even get out, which is the first time in a while I've had that sensation.
Really?
Yeah.
You just couldn't get past the...
No, I was up at Salmon Creek, which is a pretty heavy spot. Even though it was a small for Salmon Creek, but you know, San Diego's just got these like slow, easy rolling waves that are so gentle for a beginner.
So true. A little not quite as cold as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to paddle out when it's like dark and ominous and sharky and.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
I remember one day at Ocean Beach in San Francisco.
Oh, you surf Ocean Beach.
I did once or twice. Yeah, that was brutal.
I grew up on stories of my dad like near drowning Ocean Beach so many times.
I had one awful story from out there.
Yeah, I think everyone does from Northern California.
Yeah. Okay, so mid-20s.
Yeah, so I didn't even try. I mean, I probably had a couple times of, you know, going out for the sensation of it, but I didn't really learn to surf until I moved here to San Diego.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So not even at UCSB?
Again, it was kind of like I would do it every once in a while, but I don't think I actually was developing any kind of like relationship with the ocean until here. I mean, UCSB is a funny place to surf too. There's like Campus Point and Rincon, and when it's working, it's firing, but it's never working. So it's like a weird spot to like get to start. Yeah. And in San Diego, I was living on a little sailboat when I first moved here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In Mission Bay, and then that was pretty conducive to, and you know, the surf culture here, like everybody surfs here, which is so cool. So yeah, it really felt like a really friendly, sunshine, like beautiful place to finally like really develop a relationship with the sport.
Nice.
Before I was probably doing it here and there, but more of a tourist at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So I mean, there's a lot you just said that I want to talk about the sailboat and moving to San Diego, but I think I'm going to try to do this in order here. But I want to start first with, when did the idea of entrepreneurship become something of interest for you as a kid or in high school or whenever that was, and why?
It's a great question. I actually don't think, I mean, the way I describe it to so many people when I started this company is it really just felt like the stream was going in that direction, and all I did was not swim against it. But looking at everything in hindsight, I do think that there probably was an entrepreneurial bug to me. I was definitely somebody who was looking at all the ways I could do life a little different, even when I was a kid. Yeah. I think when we were kids in Boulder, we started like our whole own economy, and like we had like little bottle caps meant that it was worth so much, and then rubber bands were worth a little bit, and beads were worth a little bit, and you could trade like for goods you wanted or snacks you wanted, or you could get another kid to like eat worms or something if you had enough of our like weird economy. I think we were doing all kinds of weird entrepreneurial things as a kid, but it wasn't like I set my sights out to start a business. It just sort of, things were moving in that direction, and I was just part of the stream.
Wow. Okay, and that actually lines up with what I read about you and how you actually started made the sunscreen, right? Because didn't it start in your parents' kitchen with pots? Yeah. So tell me background on that and your dad's background and how he helped with that.
Yeah, well, you're familiar with this being from Hawaii. Hawaii was the first place to ban certain synthetics in sunscreens that are toxic to coral reefs.
Oh, really? I actually didn't know that. Yeah,
so it started to happen. It's gotten a lot more prolific, which is awesome. So we've started to see bans on one of the worst toxins is called oxybenzone. It's terrible for us too, but it's also prolifically damaging for coral reefs. It's bleaching them and killing their immune system and making it really hard for that ecosystem to sustain itself. Okay. Which is, of course, huge to the tourist economy in Hawaii. Yeah. So Hawaii actually banned oxybenzone. It was the first place ever to do it. And our family, being from there, was really privy to that whole situation.
I see.
And my dad is a total waterman, and I was living on a sailboat, and my dad was teaching me how to surf more than ever before at this time in life. Okay. And so we just kind of started making this stuff, in pasta pots back then, just in the kitchen. Yeah. And it was really just so that we weren't going to be a part of the problem when we were out surfing together. Was no sight back then on, branding the whole thing and starting the whole endeavor. But we used to carry it around in like Tupperware containers. And I had this big old Chevy camper van back then too. Okay. And so I'd always have this and back then it was like clumpy and it worked really well, but it's not like we were trying to prepare it for a real quality user experience. But still all my friends would use it, and people would give me a lot of shit if I forgot to bring it. And it just worked better. It would last in the water and not sting your eyes. And
jeez.
And then
wow. Okay, so you guys just totally invented a legit working sunscreen.
Yeah.
But, so and tell the audience what your dad did for a living.
That's very relevant. Thanks for asking. My dad is a chemist by trade.
Okay.
So that's what we were doing in Boulder. He's a PhD chemist at Boulder University.
Got it. Okay.
So that was very helpful.
I bet. Yeah. So like, was it your idea to say, hey, let's make a new sunscreen, or was it, how did that idea come about?
No, I would say it's really just that we were out in the water. We knew that the stuff was killing coral reefs. We knew it was really damaging. Coral reefs is where the problem really starts from, but it's just horrific for marine ecosystems. Yeah. It's terrible for the fish. It's terrible for, it causes reproductive health in dolphins. Like, it's really wild how nasty this stuff is, and we knew about that. So we would go out into the ocean, and my dad's a Howley guy, so he'd burn really easy, and I wasn't even wearing sunscreen back then. I'm not supposed to say that, but because it was just so bad, I just didn't want to wear it. And my dad's like, you have to wear something.
Yep.
So yeah, we just started to make the stuff. It felt like we were out there and solving our own problem with it, and it's definitely more my dad's idea back then, but we were just like, okay, well, we know this is a problem.
Make a difference.
And we can definitely make something better.
So obviously your parents, your dad being from Hawaii, they had this appreciation for the ocean and passion for, doing something that's not going to harm the ecosystem. Yeah. How did you develop that passion as well?
Yeah. Great question. I'm not really sure that I felt like there was like this moment that I knew that I was gonna be, I probably did always think I was like oriented towards looking for something with like meat on its bones. Like I think I was always, like I think in college I really thought I wanted to work in the United Nations, and I didn't really know what it was, but I just I think I was oriented towards looking for my dragon to slay kind of person.
Okay.
And I think as far as environmentalism goes, maybe it started in being like a little dirty mountain kid in Boulder, or
that makes sense.
Maybe it was when we moved to California and I really started to have more of a relationship with the ocean.
Yeah.
But I think it just is always been where I'm happiest, is the outdoors, and it's just so obvious to me when I can get out of the city and feel connected to that, how precious that is. Mm-hmm. And I think for someone who was looking for her dragon to slay, it just seemed like such a worthy thing to work on. That's
so cool. Yeah, so it sounds like the answer to that question is it just happened over time for you. There wasn't a specific moment. And I just from what we've talked about so far, I assume your interest in having your own business, being an entrepreneur, has kind of a similar story.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like one time when you were a kid you said, hey, but it just developed into it.
Yeah.
So let's transition into the business side of it a little bit. From when you guys created the sunscreen yourself and you share it with your friends, would you sell it at all to other people, or you just shared it to be nice?
Just shared it. It was truly in like Tupperware back then. And it was like, here, we didn't have a spoon or anything. You just kind of like, so. But yeah, I was just sharing it with friends back then. And then I met my past co-founder, Nikki, and Nikki was probably my biggest surfing buddy back then. We'd always hang out on the boats, and she's part Indonesian, so she'd go places like Bali and come back and be coral reef decline is such a problem like all over the world, and she was really the one who got the impetus to bring it to market, which hopped on board with her pretty quick. I think it was something I had my hands in other endeavors for a while and was like vaguely interested in, but not really pulling a trigger on anything. So it was really Nikki was the one to get us fired up about it. Yeah. So how long after you guys started experimenting with it in the kitchen, and then how long did it last where you guys were sharing it with friends, using it just yourselves between your family and friends, and then you and Nikki actually kicking this off for real to make this a trade? I always struggle to answer this question because it was honestly like such a saga of things going on before it felt like, okay, we're running a business. We definitely were like, all right, let's do something with this and bring it to market. But we were also like looking for containers at like Michael's arts and crafts store and like trying to figure it out. And all of us were working full time other places. And then I had a crazy health thing happen for a while. And I think we were really, Nikki and I were both really treating it like a hobby for a long time. And then we did, I mentioned I had this big Chevy camper. Yeah. Nikki and I went up the coast in that camper. We talked like, we finally figured out our packaging and stuff. And we're like, it's still kind of hobby style at this point. But we had the product and we put like something like 6,000 units under our camper bed and drove up the coast. 6,000? Yeah, and just started knocking on doors at surf shops and trying to sell the stuff. And that was probably when, I mean, I honestly still feel like we treated it like a hobby or a lifestyle brand for a really long time. Yeah. But that trip and closing shops and meeting the shop owners and getting this stuff like out in shelves is probably when it started to be like, all right, maybe we want to do something with this. Wow. And how receptive were the surf shops at the beginning? Oh man, surf shops are so cool. Yeah. Like, I have I just brought on my first in-house hire, Taylor. She's amazing. And I was telling her, I was sort of prepping her on what sales is like for SurfDurt. It's just, it's the least scary possible sales platform. It's just, you know, you're familiar with sales tech. It seems so much scarier. We just don't, we're not doing it on that level. It was really cool. I mean, we know all, I mean, to this day, it was like our first 150 shops. We know all of them by name. They, you know, people who own a surf shop, they're doing something because they absolutely love it. Yeah, and absolutely. That's such a cool energy to share with people. And we are all coming from a place of wanting to protect our oceans, and that's such like a common thread. It was super fun. Plus, it's like you're van camping and you're driving up the coast and you're surfing, and a ridiculous way to test your co-founder relationship to live in a van together. Oh my gosh, yeah, you're roommates, you're on the road, you're living in a van, and you're trying to do business. All the things. Yeah, seriously, my work wife. Unreal. Did you guys get any sort of like investment or funding to get things started? Yeah, Nikki and I both personally invested quite, you know, in the beginning just to try and keep something into it. Yeah. And then we bootstrapped it for a while, and then we decided to bring manufacturing in-house in a bigger level. Okay. So we actually disclosed our facility, but we were manufacturing the past 5 years in Miramar, which is insane. Okay. My dad's a chemist, so it's slightly less insane, but it's honestly still insane. It's really cool too because so pretty much every sunscreen company is going to be a brand. They're going to slap a label on a thing and have no idea how to make it or what goes into it. And so we had this sort of unique perspective coming from having made our own formula. And then we decided to build our own manufacturing facility. And we worked with the universities here in San Diego to bring in engineer interns. Oh, and wow. We, like, 3D printed equipment. Oh my God, it was such a lifesaver. Wow. Yeah, to collaborate with the students here is like such a unique opportunity of entrepreneurship in San Diego, which has been such a lifeline for us. Well, it's the perfect type of mission that you guys have to bring to the universities around San Diego, especially. Like, it's something that they would want to help you with, I would imagine, right? That's cool. Thanks a lot. I hope so. And you probably saved a lot on cost too, huh? Yeah, absolutely. That was a huge lifeline, and also really fun. Yeah. It was really fun to do. But of course, that's pretty costly, right? So it's like building out your own manufacturing facility. We did at a very small scale, but it was pretty ambitious to pull off. So we found one angel investor actually through this accelerator program, and he helped float us through those initial costs of the manufacturing facility, and he was our landlord. So he gave us an incredible deal as well for where we were able to set that up. So one angel investor so far. I'm going through my first real round now as well. Got it. Okay, that's exciting. So I want to back up a little bit to the transition from pots and pans in the kitchen and your dad, who's a chemist, to the Miramar manufacturing facility, which you said you just recently closed, right? How did you take that formula and then apply it and put it into action there? Like, could you give me more tactical steps of how you did that and made it operational? Yeah. Sure, yeah. I mean, I think the first step for us was to go and tour contract manufacturing facilities. It's another really special thing about being in San Diego is we're right next to LA and we're also next to Baja, and there's all these interesting places where you can do contract manufacturing. It's a great place for that as well. But we went and toured all these places and thinking we were going to outsource it because that's what everybody does. And in touring it, we're like, we can do this. We're already doing this. Back then it was, you know, in my parents' garage somewhere. We'd only sold it to like 3 surf shops. But yeah, when we kind of got confirmation from that trip that, okay, we can do this. And then we went and toured those spaces and kind of thought the same thing about the manufacturing side of kind of like, okay, we can do this too. And we also kind of felt like, not only can we do this, but we can do it better. And because we're smaller, you know, we can afford things like solar panels, and we can do, you know, minimal waste and minimal water waste, and we can be cleaner than you can be once you're scaling it to, you know, monstrous proportions. And I think we got really excited about how can we be a more sustainable company, but not just in our end products, but in our whole process.
Operation,
Yeah, and I think that concept got us really excited, which was needed to do something so ridiculous.
Okay. So you said some things in there that highlight, reminded me of what I read about it. So that's such a good point you made. It's about the entire process of being sustainable or being environmentally friendly versus just your product itself, right? And its impact on, you know, the ocean or the skin or whatever. But how are you making this? If anyone who outsources something to some manufacturing facility, you don't have control over how they're doing that, right? And the emissions they're putting out. But now you do, because you're doing it all yourself. So now that makes your marketing, your brand, and your story that much more powerful.
Yeah.
And you mentioned in there the solar panels, right? So tell us about how you're using solar power to power the operation and the manufacturing.
It was really sort of a experiment in the beginning of like, can we do it this way? And then I think I was very idealistic when we started of like, we can source through all these, you know, incredible programs, and every single ingredient will be sustainable, and we'll be mindful of, you know, everybody will be fair wages, excuse me. And we can do solar panels, and we can do gray water systems. And then I got into it and I was like, oh, okay, if you're gonna have solar panels, you're not gonna have gray water systems. And it was like, if you're gonna do this, you're not gonna do that. And I think that was really humbling and really, you know, a good reminder that the problems and solutions aren't black and white. Everything has got complexity to it. And I think it's still the thing that excites me the most is like, you know, yes, it's good for marketing, but like truly, like, how can we feel like we're doing things different? I think I get really excited about that still. Right. But with such a healthy dose of realism that comes with entrepreneurship. I think now we're at a scale where we actually can't keep that facility solar panel, and we actually can't do things on that level. And so we're in the middle of outsourcing our contract manufacturing again, which is terrifying because we've had such like incredible control. But it's also a really necessary growth step. And then my dream and hope is that in this necessary step that we'll need to scale, I can actually bring it back in-house with a collective of other companies that are also manufacturing. Because I do think in sustainability we need each other. You know how sometimes in tech it feels like don't look at my screen, and you can't see what I'm doing. And in sustainability, we just so need the interdependence. We absolutely need each other.
You need to work together.
Yes. And so my hope is we can bring the manufacturing back in-house once we get through this next plateau. And then we really can share those resources and do it all in the way that an individual company couldn't. But it was really cool to do it when we were at a smaller scale, and was absolutely proof that it can be done. It just really reiterated for me that to do that well and to do it at a large scale, you got to share. We're gonna have to share.
No, understood. And I think you described that very well.
Thank you.
You still have the desire to be as involved in that as much as possible, but just like any business, that's the reality of it. It's not a steady line up and to the right ever.
God, no.
And that's going to lead me to my next question here. But it's, you know, just to respond to that, you're basically, you have to sometimes step sideways to get forward, right?
Yeah.
In the way that you want it to be, and as you scale. Does that make sense?
Totally. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely relate to.
Cool. Okay, so off of that, I'm curious, do you have it can be specific or general, but a specific story would be really cool. What has been the biggest challenge you've experienced so far as founder of SurfDurt, as an entrepreneur?
That's hard. That's a really tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Great question. I mean, I think you can probably relate to this. You're such a learner as well. You were talking about the podcast you like to learn from right before this.
Sure.
I've worked with a lot of mentors. Like, I just think you cannot do this in isolation. I'm always trying to be in an accelerator program, always trying to stay around people that I can learn from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even I've had mentors that are like, you know, CEOs of insanely large tech companies, you know, like crazy companies, or like truly like neuroscience companies doing really cool stuff, and they'll always say people is the hard part. Even if you're doing just like rocket science, people is the hard part. And I think that we've definitely had those challenges. It's been scary to try and scale this and bring out, you know, sell equity and bring investment in and bring new players in. And also we really want to stay true to the mission that we're a part of and stay true to who we are. And trying to navigate all of that is crazy. And then also just the lack of people is really tough. I think I had my hardest moment when Nikki had exited the company during the pandemic. It was about couple years ago. And then, of course, we lost half our revenue from the pandemic because all our surf shops closed. And then, you know, at the time I didn't even have an office, so I'm like sitting there in my living room, like trying to push through. We're in the negative. We had gotten a profit, and now we've lost it. We're in this terrible place, and my business partner exited. And like sit in the middle of my like studio apartment trying to power through this ridiculous thing. That I mean, so it's like, finding incredible people to align with is really hard. Not having the resources to attract the talent that you need is really hard. And there are so many moments. I mean, you're a one-man show, solopreneur. You know, you can relate. I mean, really showing up when there's no one else around to show up for is really hard. And I feel so much for entrepreneurs that are trying to push past that.
Oh my gosh,
I just brought in my first, you know, in-house person, and I feel like I have a partner and a team again, and I feel like that was such a lifeline because, I mean, people are always the hard part. When they're there and when they're not, it's always the hard part.
That's a great answer. It is, because it's like, I mean, it's sure you have like the outside people you're working with, that just doing business in general is never easy, right? Asking for money, that's hard. That's hard no matter what, whether you're selling something, whether you're selling equity in your business. But getting the right people to work for you, and especially as a small business owner, this is pretty much the common problem, and it only you know, it 100x during the pandemic, right, when people weren't even allowed to do business. So I mean, and you've been in business for what now, 7-8 years?
I mean, like we mentioned, we were definitely doing it like a hobby level for a while, but we've been at this for some time now.
So and that's like, you basically got it going and then went through the pandemic years, and that's just unreal. So many small businesses went out of business during that time.
I know. It was definitely tough.
How did you survive?
I'm not sure. It's definitely like you mentioned, with the progress is like up and then down and then sideways somehow. It was tough. We definitely had a hard pandemic, and like I mentioned, I mean, we were finally in the green, and then we were back in the red. And then building back up from that was definitely tough. I mean, we had very little overhead at the time. We pulled off some crazy moves. And then there was relief for those of us, you know, in small businesses. In San Diego was, again, a great place to do this stuff. But we took on the IDL loan, and we got that internship program with the students. So we were actually able to have students come in from the engineer programs and manufacture like 10,000 units of sunscreen with us.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And they're paid for, but they're paid for by the city.
Oh.
So we got some real lifelines.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't catch that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that makes sense.
And then again, it's like, it's like finding great talent is hard, and the people part is hard in that way, but not having people and like trying to power through it when you have the lack of that talent is even harder. So, we were really lucky in finding some really great talent, and that was a huge lifeline. And and then just sheer donkey stubbornness, I think you need a good amount of.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, there were definitely moments where I was like, should I shut this down and move to Nicaragua?
I mean, the amount of times I hear that type of journey in these conversations, it's almost everyone. I mean, every entrepreneur faces that like back against the wall moment. I feel like
and that was like our 2008, right? Like it was like our crash was the pandemic. It was so real for everybody. But definitely hard to sustain a business through.
So which universities were you working with in the internship program?
Yeah, we did the university, and then and then SDSU. SDSU helped us a lot.
So UCSD and SDSU?
Thank you, yes. Okay. I always get them confused.
Nice. Okay, and the interns were great?
Yeah, they were awesome. I mean, engineer interns, so they're like really interested, and they like to fix things. And we're like 3D printing equipment and like, figuring out our assembly line, and they were awesome to work with. And that was such a relief to me too, because again, I'm like in my living room. I don't know if you ever worked in a restaurant, but I grew up working in restaurants, and there's like back of house and front of house, like the kitchen staff, and then like all the wait staff is the front of house. And so when I was doing manufacturing, I'd always think of like marketing, sales, like financials, all of that was going to be front of house. And then the manufacturing was back of house. There's so much to do back there too. And so I would be there working on the front of house stuff alone in my living room, and then it was just such a relief to have these like brilliant, sweet kids like there to help us out for get to feel like you're in a team again, and you're not doing this in a vacuum. And they were really smart kids that enjoy learning, and really sweet too. It's a really funny scene too, because we're all in like hairnets and lab coats and gloves. And it like, honestly, it looks like Breaking Bad or something. Like, what are they doing in there?
And in a garage too?
No. At that point we had a facility in Miramar.
Okay, that was that Miramar facility. Okay.
I think it's frowned upon to ask kids to come to
work to your garage.
As the students, I think we had to do that a little more formally.
So on that note, then what is the process to get connected with universities to get these kids to come? Because you said the city was able to fund their their pay, right?
Yeah.
For their summer jobs, basically. Like, how did you score that?
Yeah. I got connected with a program called CMTC, California, I'm going to butcher this, California Manufacturing Collective, essentially.
Sure, okay.
And I actually got connected with them through here at Connect All at the Jacobs Center, which again, I just think this accelerator program was incredible. Really the first thing that launched us into a business mindset at all. But accelerator programs in general, I'm just, especially if you're a solopreneur and you're doing this alone, like such a huge proponent of them. They're so helpful. And they're really helpful in like things like this, finding and connecting you to things like CMTC.
Sure.
And then so I think we hit a sort of a sweet spot because it's rare to do California manufacturing. We were a minority female-owned California manufacturing, which is even rarer. So we were able to apply. And then, the pandemic's happening and all these lifelines are happening for small businesses. And so we hit this sort of sweet spot. But it was really being a part of a collective like this that kept me connected to people like CMTC.
Okay, so it was really a direct result of being a part of the Jacobs Center?
Totally.
Okay, that's huge.
Connect All Jacobs Center saved us so many times. And there's a lot of those kind of lifeline things. There's like SCORE and EDC, I think Environmental Development Center here in San Diego. There's a lot of helpful programs, but it's hard to keep tabs on all of them. So Connect All here really helped us do that.
Okay, well, I want to ask more about that then, because I said earlier, I think when we started, I was curious, because we're recording this here at the Jacobs Center.
I know. I'm going to get you to sign up after this.
Okay, I'm down. This is cool.
I'm their biggest fan,
Yeah, well, so like, what else have they given you lifelines for? Where have you seen the most benefit come out of being being a member of this program?
Yeah. I think truly the biggest thing is the people thing again. I mean, I have Alex Waters who does the program. He's sort of the president of it. And he helped me and Nikki navigate our exit. He helped us through our hardest conversations. He was like on the phone with me while I'm like crying on my couch. You know, it's just like these people saw us for the very beginnings. Like I think our first pitch deck just had like Bart Simpson all over it.
Oh wow.
and then they saw us through, you know, getting our first investor, and they watched us develop that whole manufacturing facility in Miramar and like, you know, build this crazy facility thing, and they really like truly incubated us through that process. And so I think they just like, I always call Alex like the godfather of SurfDurt secretly. Like they just really help you, and they're there for you, and it's such an emotional roller coaster to go through, and they've seen it before, and they guide you through it, and they support you. And then I would say the other bit hugely is they're really good at keeping a pulse on all these types of programs. So if you're like, I need equipment help, or I need podcast help, or I need interns badly, or, you know, they're going to have a lead for you. And it's hard to keep tabs on all of that.
No, that sounds incredibly valuable.
It really is,
What is a commitment from you, though, to be a part of this program? Like as far as investment or time or work that you got to do?
I think for this one it was, oh man, we were cohort 1. I think they're on like cohort 8. So it's been a while since I've been in this one. But I think it was like once a week you had night class, which was awesome, and was always someone different. Sometimes it was from an angel investor who was going to guide you through that, or sometimes it was a tax guy or an HR person.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Super helpful.
So,
you'd have night classes, and they're really respectful of the fact that back then, when you're first getting your grassroots stuff, all of us are working other jobs. Like, you know, no one's available from 8 to 5.
Right.
So it was like a night class. They'd come, they'd give you dinner, and you'd come into this space and learn for like an hour or 2.
Okay.
Usually a little bit of homework. You have to do a pitch to even get into the program, and then do a pitch, a bigger one with a bigger audience. Terrifying. At the end to sort of your exit. Okay. And then really they don't ask too much of you other than like be serious about your business and be, you know, wanting to take advantage of the resources. And ultimately I think their goal is to help create and sustain jobs in San Diego. So they're hoping by helping businesses in the long term, they're going to help create more jobs.
Got it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, which they have for us, and it's been huge.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. So I'm curious, we're going to transition back to your responsibility right now as CEO, founder. Like, what are you spending most of your time each day doing right now? I'm sure it's all over the map, just like any CEO. But what is maybe your main focus right now that you're just spending the most time on to move the business forward and get more revenue?
Great question. It's totally as you say. We're all wearing every hat. I'm so excited to get through a few more stages where you've got drivers in every lane. But right now, primarily, the business model is to continue to grow with the product we have. And we're also in the middle of developing a new product. Still sunscreen, still the least possible toxicity, but it'll be in a form you've never seen before, and it's even more environmental than what we currently do. Okay. So we're really excited about it. We're sort of bootstrapping that development as we continue to grow with our existing product, which for us means, you know, we do the omni-channel thing. So it means wholesale, shops, trying to get into some of the bigger chain shops, but also we always want to stay true to our sort of soul connection with surf shops and locals. And also we do the e-commerce thing, so email marketing, social media is in the game, you know, you got your ads that you're doing, and I mentioned a new hire who helps me with all of that, and she wears every hat too. And then a big part of what I'm doing currently is around this raise. So we're developing the formula and the packaging for our new product, but I'm going to need to raise in order to bring it direct to manufacture. So these days, it's a lot of that. Yeah, no, I can see that. So I just took away from that. You mainly a new product being developed. And
and branding around that, and then raising money.
Yeah.
I mean, those should be probably the two biggest things for you anyway.
I wish it was. I mean, we're literally 2 people right now, which is wild.
So you still got to do everything else. But
so we're doing a lot to keep the lights on while we try and keep this new development. So it really is fairly chaotic. It's a good thing I'm sort of drawn to that.
Yeah. So tell us about the existing product. I mean, you're developing a new one, but let's look at this right here.
Yeah.
So these are the same thing, right? This is just packaging?
This one is my sort of tester. It's been opened and messed with, and I surfed with it yesterday.
Okay.
And then that one's for you.
Thank you.
And this one, we've got all these different lid colors, so it's all the same sunscreen. We've got 2 shades right now. One's tan and one's, we call it zombie white because people look like zombies.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so tan colors. And zombie white.
But we do also have these kind of different color lids.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And those represent the different
I picked
colors?
green for you. I hope you're okay with that.
Oh, that's my favorite color. Thank you.
It's sensitive.
I love it.
So yeah, the different color lids is a vote with your dollars model. So you can sort of personalize the color that you like, but it also gives back to a different charity. So we share our proceeds.
Interesting.
That was sort of a unique choice.
Yeah.
I've had mentors who tell me I should have waited to be worth millions of dollars and then give back, but I just think it's not why we got into this. And you know, who knows? I don't even know who I'll be in 3 years. So it's like, if we can do something now, let's do something now.
Yeah.
So all of our charities, thank you. So all of our charities give back to an organization that either fights climate change or uplifts diversity. And they're all organizations that we feel really personally inspired by.
Cool.
So like the blue lid, we've got this like bright teal logo or lid. And that one gives back to clean water, which is my dad's choice.
Okay.
And we've got, you know, all these different organizations. We've got one that's Nikki's choice and my choice. So sort of, vote with your dollars model.
So that's cool. A lot of really good intention with how you've driven this business forward and how you're trying to give back. Sell a little bit for me right now. Why should somebody use this sunscreen, SurfDurt, instead of the hundreds of others that they can choose from out there?
It's honestly gotten really confusing, the sunscreen space. And I feel for consumers who are trying to do the right thing because that landscape is so confusing now. But what we do is only the least possible toxicity of any currently known formula. So that means significantly better for you and for the ocean. And I mean, it's really, well, first I'll start with why it's better for you.
Okay, yeah.
The synthetic chemical sunscreens. First, all sunscreen is better than skin cancer. So, you know, it's not like a fear-mongering thing. Like, you know, it's just like, but if you, and there's no way of avoiding toxins in your life. Like, it's going to come from somewhere. So, you know, but it's like you make your choices. Yeah. And so if this is one you want to make, synthetic chemical sunscreens have hormone disruptors. And you know how sunscreens, most chemical ones go on clear.
Okay.
There's no such thing as clear sunscreen.
Yeah.
That's just your skin or your dermal layer absorbing it in less than a second.
Got it.
And if it's getting absorbed by your dermal layer, it means it's going into your bloodstream. And doctors will even tell like breastfeeding moms now not to wear that stuff because it's going into your bloodstream in less than a second. That's why it looks like it's absorbed.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
Whoa.
And then, you know, of course,
a
breastfeeding mom, it's like it's hormone disruptors. Hormone disruptors aren't great for any of us. They're endocrine disruptors, not good stuff. But it's especially problematic in your first 3 growth stages. Yeah. So really bad for babies. So a whole plethora of issues around it for us. Not great. And then talking about the ocean, I mean, of course it's not the only pollutant, right? We've got all kinds of things polluting the ocean every day. But just one drop of the common chemical called oxybenzone pollutes up to 6 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth of coral reef. Wow. Yeah, one drop. And
unbelievable.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
And we're pumping like hundreds of tons of this stuff into the ocean every single year. I mean, you know, in Hawaii, I mean, it's like you'll see that like greasy layer above the ocean. Yeah. I mean, tons of this stuff in the ocean. Yeah. A lot of that studies is coming from Scripps Institute here in San Diego.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's coming from all over. But they're leading a lot of it. Exactly. So it's not the only pollutant that's causing coral reef decline internationally, but it's such an easy one to fix. Sure. And it's like, we don't need 10 people being absolutely perfect about like, you know, perfect vegan who was like never gonna wear it, you know, and it's like nothing, you know, we need millions of people
to make a difference.
Oriented towards progress.
For sure.
And we're gonna pick the things that they can change on. And this is such an easy one.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not the sunscreen you wear to the office. But it's the sunscreen you decide to wear every time you go near the ocean.
Sure.
Of course, when you shower, it's going to end up in the ocean no matter what. But make your changes where you can make your changes. Yeah. And if millions of us do that, the coolest thing about the coral reef is it naturally can repair itself. So all we have to do is turn the faucet off on this one prolific polluter.
Yeah.
And then it will naturally repair.
That's amazing.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know, we talk about the coral reef so much, but it's not explicitly just about the coral reef. I mean, coral reefs clean our own air.
Yeah.
They're home to millions of ocean millions of ocean animals. It's a whole ecosystem, and it's causing, you know, so it really saves lives ultimately, and for people who their livelihood depends on it, and for millions of species whose lives are lived in that ecosystem as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's incredible.
Why you should switch.
I love it. No,
long-winded pitch.
It's a great pitch. And how much does it cost?
I think they're $25.
$25. Yeah. Okay.
And I think because it's so confusing for people to navigate these days.
You're good.
A couple hints if you're looking for a reef-safe sunscreen or something that's really natural and healthier for you. I mean, of course, we'd love it if you get SurfDurt.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking on a store, like, you're going to want to look for the active ingredient non-nano zinc oxide.
Okay.
Any other active ingredient is not reef-safe. Non-nano zinc oxide.
Non-nano zinc oxide, okay.
Yeah, or even if it just says zinc oxide, it's probably okay. But a lot of things these days will say reef safe and they aren't, which is really problematic.
I see.
And another big indicator is packaging. So we do bamboo and aluminum.
Oh, okay. There's a whole other angle to it. That sort of insulates it. Yeah.
So that's so if you leave it in your car.
Does it feel different? Could I try to?
Yeah, it does. It's more of an earthy paste.
Oh yeah. So is it supposed to be much more firm like this?
A little firmer, yeah, and really gentle on your skin. Like your skin should feel softer after you wear it.
Yeah. Okay.
Looks good
like
on you.
Immediately. Or thank you. Okay. Nice.
But it won't be that kind of like mayonnaise-y consistency of a synthetic one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can really geek out on it. Sorry.
Oh no, I love it. This is cool stuff. And, and so real quick, where are you guys? Like what shops? I mean, you said 150 surf shops? Yeah,
we're in a lot of surf shops along the coast, of course, heavier on the West Coast because it was easier to drive the van to. Yeah. But we're in Hawaii, we're in New York, Jersey, North Carolina's got some shops, Florida, of course.
Wow.
Surf shops is really how we got our start. And, you know, surf shops are so cool. Like, the whole world is moving into e-commerce buying, and that's cool too. We do that as well. But like surfers are one of the only things where it's like you still want to go in and you want to talk to the shop guy and you want to hear what they use. And so we always want to stay really true to that origin story.
Absolutely. But, great point.
Yeah, but we do the whole thing. We're online. You can buy us on our website.
Okay.
We're in Free People now. We got really excited about that one. And then, surf shops all around we've got a list on our website, too, of all our shops.
Cool. Okay. Okay. So on the website, you can find all the locations.
Local ones, we're at Bird Surf Sheds. Those guys we just restocked Birds. Yeah. Mission Surf. Play It Again Sports, all those guys.
Oh, love it. Okay, well, I'm going to keep my eye out.
That's right. You're in PB. Play It Again Sports is going to be the closest one for you.
Okay, I love it. Yeah, they got all kinds of toys in there.
Yeah, I know. Dangerous, right?
Yeah, it is. Spend all day. Cool. Well, amazing overview of what you've gone through.
Thank you.
I want to kind of try to take away something. This is a question I ask everybody at the end, which is, what is an entrepreneurial life hack that is unique to you, that may be against the mainstream belief that you could share with the audience?
Good question. I don't know. I'm probably like you. I like love absorbing all the hacks and listen to the humor mids and all of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I love it all. But probably one that I'm a big proponent of that I think is a little unique in this space is don't sacrifice your life to it. Like, have fun. You know? I mean, the stress is guaranteed. That is going to come. Yeah. Try to chill out, try and laugh, try and have fun. You know, it'll work or it won't, and you're gonna give it your best shot. Yeah. And you know, ultimately, like, that's your life and your years. And I think, like, I've had a lot of mentors that I think sometimes I'm like, wow, I can't believe this guy's giving me the time of day. Like, these guys are so, you know, accomplished and big, but they're so stressed out. Yeah. And I just think you actually aren't supposed to give up your quality of life for this. Like, you know, let your business work with you to enjoy life more. And I think that shines through in the love you have for your business. And I just think, try to enjoy it. That part's really big. And it's hard to see how sometimes when it's so, you know, the ups and downs are so dramatic.
You can't see around the corner sometimes.
But try to have fun.
Yeah. Awesome. That's an awesome answer. Thanks for sharing that. Cool. Okay. And then one thing also to end, and this has been a great network effect I've built in doing this podcast, is I ask the guest, who's one person in your network you think I should have on the show? And before you answer that, I'm just going to shout out to Max Holdreth, who recommended you in his episode, and I'm so glad we got connected because you've got such a cool business and you're really cool yourself.
I'm stoked too. This is a tough question. You know, San Diego entrepreneurs, I feel like we're like such a small knit crew. So I was thinking about this one and trying to think who I'd ask. I know a lot of people in surf sustainability, so I would think maybe Jack from Faro Surfboard Bags. He makes these really beautiful. It's so funny. He's like such a golden boy. You know, is always in his van surfing these crazy waves. But he's also a really talented seamstress. Not sure if you say seamstress for a male. But he makes these beautiful surf bags out of really sustainable materials. Those guys are great. Francine from Sun and Loom does really sustainable clothing. If you haven't talked to Sam at Pfizer, she's done incredible stuff with she made an app that gives food back for every time to people who need it for any time you're gonna get a walk-in or a workout in, which is really cool. So I don't know, I guess I'd have to shoot back at you, like what kind of entrepreneur inspires you most, or what are you looking to talk to next? And then I think I'd have one for you.
Well, you just gave me some cool, unique types of businesses and people, so I'll
definitely pass you through the Connect All process. There's a lot of cool people in there doing awesome things.
Just in this building.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Well, cool. Well, Maxine, thanks so much.
Thank you. This was really fun. Thanks for being barefoot with me.
Oh, of course. We got to do it Hawaiian style, right?
Hawaiian style. I loved it.
Yeah. What's your social media? How can people find you and SurfDurt online?
So you can find SurfDurt, SurfDurt. Otherwise, you're going to get motocrossed. I'm still fighting them for that.
Oh, really? Oh, boy. Okay.
And we're on all the things. We're on, Instagram. Love it if you check out our website, our email. We're working really hard on our email. My hire Taylor makes the cutest ones ever. I'm obsessed with them.
Nice.
We're on TikTok now, which I fought for a long time, but here we are. So you can watch us be absolutely ridiculous on TikTok. All the things.
I love it.
I'd love to connect.
Cool. Well, Max, thanks so much again.
Thank you. This is fun.
Yeah, really cool stuff you're up to. Guys, go check out SurfDurt. Go to your local surf shop and wear it. It's absolutely. An easy difference to make. Like she said, that's such a simple way to do it. So, Max, thanks so much for sharing your story and being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. This was a blast.
All right. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Cool.
Thank you for joining our conversation today on the Nichols and Dimes Show. Please check out and follow my podcast Instagram at Nichols and Dimes Show. I'd love to have you subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube. You can also find it on my website. I welcome and encourage any feedback you can share in the reviews so I can continue to improve and develop the show. Thanks again, and see you next time.